And welcome here to Inside the Huddle. We have a jam-packed show for you today. And it's the biggest game in Iowa history, any sport, at least in my lifetime. And it's the biggest game in Iowa history in any sport since I've been alive on this great earth. It is second seeded Iowa taking on the reigning, defending, undisputed champion, undefeated South Carolina, who have won 57 out of their last 60 games. Iowa, there is a path to victory for the Hawkeyes. You got to keep them off the boards. You have to. That is a must do. You can't give up extra possessions. You give up extra possessions against the South Carolina team, they will make you pay. And on offense, if you can get Aaliyah and some of their star players in foul trouble to start the game, that's advantage Hawkeyes. Getting them in foul trouble early and making a run while they're on the bench. That is another path for Iowa to win. Is getting their star players in foul trouble and making a run. Don Staley, I have nothing but respect for these two coaches. Lisa Blue for Iowa, Don Staley of South Carolina. South Carolina, people say this is a David versus Goliath matchup, and it is. It is. It is the biggest giant in women's college basketball in South Carolina. But Iowa, anything can happen in March, on the last day of March. And this is going to be the. I want to see how. And against a team like South Carolina, I told this to my dad when UCLA play Gonzaga. You got to win. You got to be close at every media timeout. So Iowa, every 3 or 5 minutes, has to be within striking distance to have a chance. Because I don't believe, I can't believe, but South Carolina has not given up a double-digit lead this season. Not once. Not once. That's why they're 36-0. The average margin of victory in the NCAA tournament is 22.5 points. And Iowa, I will say this like I did to my dad when UCLA played Gonzaga. I will take the game as separate 5-minute games, 5-minute quarters. You gotta win into the first. I'm not saying win. You gotta be close or in the lead by the first media timeout. Then the game starts over again until the next media timeout, and so on and so forth. Because you can't beat South Carolina with, and I'm gonna say this again. This game is gonna be won or lost by the role players in this game. We know about Clark and Sonano, but who is going to step up for Iowa? That's not named Clark or Sonano. Because that's how you beat South Carolina. Balanced scoring. If we can get 25 from Clark, 20 from Sonano, 12 from Stolke or above, Molly Davis, if we can get 4 girls in double figures, we have a shot. We have a shot. And people are calling this, if Iowa beats South Carolina, King Kong upset, it would be an upset. But you have the best defensive player in the country in Aaliyah Boston. You have the best offensive player in the country in Caitlin Clark. This is going to be huge. Like, you in this game is you got to win every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, you got to win that. Because against good teams, start out fast. If you can start out fast and put all the pressure, the more Iowa hangs around in this game, the more pressure goes on South Carolina to respond. And just like FDU and Purdue, FPU kept responding to Purdue's runs. That's why FDU won that game against Purdue and become the second 16 seed. They beat a 1. And if Iowa can, like Jim Valvano says, keep the game close. Keep the game close. Keep the game close. Keep the game close. Just keep it close. And steal it at the end. If you keep the game close, and this game's going to be, I'm going to say this at all times. Iowa has to be within 10 points to have a chance at all times. Anytime, if South Carolina anytime goes up by 10, Iowa's already in dangerous waters, even if it's the first quarter. Because, like I said, South Carolina has not given up a double-digit lead this season. And only once, and that lead has gone down back to single digits. So, you gotta play the best 30 minutes of these young girls' careers. This has to be an entire team effort tonight. The entire team has to show up. The bench has to show up. The starters got to show up. The energy has to be up. Charges, loose balls, and ones. Those energy plays that are not on the stat sheet. And if Iowa can keep the energy of the room in their favor, who knows what will happen. We'll be back in a second. You're listening to Inside the Huddle on the JT Sports Network. And welcome back here to Inside the Huddle on the JT Sports Network. And it's going to be a good game here between Iowa and South Carolina. It's going to be a big factor here. Can Iowa really run the floor well and really get going offensively? It's going to be a big factor again if it is really good and really smooth and fluid with that. And we will also talk about WrestleMania today and that stuff. But for now, we will take a small 1 minute break on the JT Sports Network. Inside the Huddle on the JT Sports Network is presented by Coolers It Just Sauce at 114 East Green Street in Walker, Iowa. Some of the best barbecue you can get in eastern Iowa at 114 East Green Street in Walker, Iowa. And Interstate Swine, helping to raise fresh and safe pork for your family and community since 1998. With the entire Interstate Swine team helping to serve you and your family and your community. With Ben Seiler, Rob Turner, Todd Wiley, Cliff McKinley, and Rob Turner. We're back here on the show, and it's one of the biggest games in Iowa history in any sport, and it's the biggest game in Iowa sports since I've been alive. And can Iowa have a chance here against? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting if Iowa keeps this close. If Iowa can get to half and really dictate the tempo and really go after them, fast starts critical. But can can Iowa at least get on the floor, run, and run the offense? Because I don't think against South Carolina you can melt the shot clock every possession and have a good chance of winning. I think if you have a good shot, 10 seconds in the shot clock, shoot it. Against South Carolina, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens tonight. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens tonight on inside the Huddle. The game's at 8:30, and when we come back on the show, we will talk about the men's March Madness, WrestleMania, and Iowa baseball hot start this year. You're listening to Inside the Huddle on the JT Sports Network. Welcome back here inside the Huddle Studios. I'm your host, Jansen Turner. It's gonna be a good night of basketball and WrestleMania. Let's take a look at the WrestleMania card. With you, and let's take a look at it together. And the big matchup will be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania tomorrow and on Sunday. It's gonna and on Monday I will give you my reaction to WrestleMania as well. But it's hosted by The Miz, and it's gonna be very, very interesting to see what happens tomorrow and Sunday as well. But it's gonna be a big night ahead. A fatal four-way tag team match between Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Natalia and Shotzi, Rousey and Baszler, and Chelsea Green taking on Sonya Deville. And I think it's going to be Ronda Rousey and Baszler winning that match because those two, they can throw down with anyone in that division. It's going to be very interesting to see who wins that match because the only one that's experienced, I think, teaming up with each other is Rousey and Baszler. If I'm being correct here. And Rousey and Baszler is going to be very good. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match at WrestleMania tomorrow. It's going to be very good there. And then it's going to be Brock Lesnar taking on the Nigerian giant Omos. And Omos is going to be. It's going to be very, very um interesting there because Lesnar has a big power and Omos has very good fluency on it as well. But can Brock Lesnar slow down Omos? And can Omos slow down Brock Lesnar? That that is going to be the ultimate key for the match. But the Ultimate X Factor MVP will be at ringside for the match. Then it's the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match on the men's side. It is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match between Street Profits, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet, and Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders. That is going to be a very interesting match as well. And you go all the way down the line that it's going to be a very interesting focus here that can they go on like that. We come back with more WrestleMania coverage. You're listening to Inside the Huddle on the JT Sports Network. Welcome back here to Inside the Huddle on the JT Sports Network. Welcome back to WrestleMania coverage here on the JT Sports Network. And I think the Street Profits will win the match that we are just talking about. That is the 6-woman tag match between Lita, Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, and Damage Control, the women's tag team champions Lita and Becky Lynch with Trish Stratus, taking on Damage Control of Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. And that one's going to be fun to watch as well. The main event is going to be an amazing match, but Bianca Belair would take on Asuka for the Raw Women's title because Asuka won the Elimination Chamber match in Montreal. And she punched her ticket to WrestleMania, so it's Asuka against Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So it's EST versus the Empress tomorrow, and that one's gonna be very interesting to see the very contrasting styles between the fast-paced Asuka taking on the just a pure strength of the EST and Bianca Belair, and that one's gonna be amazing to watch and see who wins that one. The triple threat match for the Intercontinental title between Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. And Gunther will probably have Imperium get involved in this match. Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. And that's gonna be what probably happens. But Sheamus is looking to become the first Grand Slam champion in WWE history. That could happen Saturday and Sunday at WrestleMania. And then it's Austin Theory taking on John Cena for the United States title. And it's going to be very critical there that Iowa has been very, very good there. But John Cena taking on Austin Theory for the United States title. And in that matchup is going to be the one I'm going to be watching a lot of because it's going to be very critical for John Cena to get going offensively early and often in this match. It's Dominic versus Ray at WrestleMania as well. And that one is going to be a factor too. And it's going to be very much a factor there as Dominic Mysterio really going around and really going there. And then it's Logan Paul taking on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, the Iowa native. Seth Rollins has been good this year, but can Seth Rollins have another WrestleMania moment? As Logan Paul cost him the United States title at the Elimination Chamber and Theory won it. Retained it. And it's Paul versus. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Then it's Edge versus Finn Balor inside H in a cell. And that match might be very interesting. Who wins that match? Because they are two rivals. And it's going to be a big factor there. Who wins that match? And it's Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and the Usos. And then it is the big match between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Until next time, I'm Jansen Turner saying so long.